These are a couple of excerpts from the book Imagine Heaven, where people die and go to heaven and then come back and share their experiences. Part of the joy I was experiencing was not only the presence of everything wonderful, but the absence of everything terrible. There was no strife, no competition, no sarcasm, no betrayal, no deception, no lies, no murders, no unfaithfulness, no disloyalty, nothing contrary to the light and life and love. The absence of sin was something you could feel. There was no shame because there was nothing to be ashamed of. There was no sadness because there was nothing to be sad about. There was no need to hide because there was nothing to hide from. It was all out in the open. This is from page 99. Now from page 102. The last thing I remembered was the sight of Chuck's hands on the controls, violently wrenching the flight controls, fully left and fully back. Suddenly I found myself suspended in midair, hovering over the wreckage of my body. My gray pants and short-sleeved shirt were torn to shreds and soaked in blood. I sped through what appeared to be a narrow pathway. It wasn't a tunnel of light that I was traveling through. It was a path in the darkness that was delineated by the light. Outside of this pathway was total darkness, but in the darkness, millions of tiny spheres of light zoomed past as I traveled through what looked like deep space, almost as if a jet were flying through a snowstorm at night. At this time, I became aware that I was not traveling alone. Accompanying me were two angelic escorts dressed in seamless white garments woven with silver threads. They had no discernible gender, but appeared masculine and larger than I was. Remarkably, my peripheral vision was enhanced, and I could see both of their glowing faces at the same time. I could even see behind me while hardly moving my head. I was fast approaching a magnificent city, golden and gleaming among a myriad of resplendent colors. The light I saw was the purest I had ever seen, and the music was the most majestic, enchanting, and glorious I had ever heard. I was still approaching the city, but now I was slowing down, like a plane making its final approach for landing. I knew instantly that this place was entirely and utterly holy. Don't ask me how I knew. I just knew. I was overwhelmed by its beauty. It was breathtaking, and a strong sense of belonging filled my heart. I never wanted to leave. Somehow I knew I was made for this place, and this place was made for me. The entire city was bathed in light, an opaque whiteness in which the light was intense but diffused. In that dazzling light, every color imaginable seemed to exist. And what's the right word? Played. The colors seemed to be alive, dancing in the air. I had never seen so many different colors. It was breathtaking to watch, and I could have spent forever doing just that. The closer I got to the city, the more distinct the illumination became. The magnificent light I was experiencing emanated from about 40 or 50 miles within the city wall, from a focal point that was brighter than the sun. Oddly, it didn't make me squint to look at it. And all I wanted to do was look at it. The light was palpable. It had substance to it, weight and thickness, like nothing I had ever seen before or since. The light from a hydrogen bomb is the closest I can come to describing it. Somehow I knew that light and life and love were connected and interrelated. Remarkably, the light didn't shine on things, but through them, through the grass, through the trees, through the wall, and through the people who were gathered there. There was a huge gathering of angels and people. Millions, countless millions. They were gathered in a central area that seemed over 10 miles in diameter. The expanse of people was closer to an ocean than a concert hall. Waves of people moving in the light, swaying to the music, worshiping God. Somehow the music in heaven calibrated everything, and I felt that nothing was rushed. I was outside the city, slowly moving toward its wall, suspended a few hundred feet above the ground. I'm not sure how. I knew directions there, but I had a strong, almost magnetic sense that it was northwest, which meant I was approaching the city from the southeast. A narrow road led to an entrance in the wall which led into the city. I moved effortlessly along the road, escorted by my two angelic guides on what seemed to be a divine schedule. Below me lay the purest, most perfect grass, precisely the right length, and not a blade that was bent or even out of place. It was the most vibrant green I had ever seen. If a color can be said to be alive, the green I saw was alive, slightly transparent and emitting light and life from within each blade. The iridescent grass stretched endlessly over gently rolling hills, upon which were sprinkled the most colorful wildflowers, lifting their soft-petaled beauty skyward, almost as if they were a chorus of flowers caught up in their own way of praising God. The fragrance that permeated heaven was so gentle and sweet. I almost didn't notice it amid all there was to see and hear, but as I looked at the delicate, perfect flowers and grass, I wanted to smell them. Instantly, I was aware of a gentle aroma. As I focused, I could tell the difference between the grass and the flowers, the trees, and even the air. It was all so pure and intoxicating and blended together in a sweet and satisfying scent. In the distance stood a range of mountains, majestic in appearance, as if they reigned over the entire landscape. These were not mountains you wanted to conquer. These were mountains you wanted to revere. The road was only wide enough for two people and followed the contours of the hills. Then it began sloping upward toward the huge wall that encircled the city. Next, I heard the faint sound of water rushing in the distance. I couldn't see the water, but it sounded as if it were rivers cascading over a series of small waterfalls, creating music that was ever changing. Between the central part of the city and the city walls were groupings of brightly colored, picture-perfect homes in small, quaint towns. Each home was customized and unique from the others, yet blended harmoniously. Some were 3 or 4 stories, some were even higher. There were no two the same. If music could become homes, it would look like these, beautifully built and perfectly balanced. The city walls stretched out to my left and right as far as I could see in both directions. A powerful light permeated the wall, and you could see all the colors in the rainbow in it. Strangely, whenever I moved, the colors moved ever so slightly, as if sensing my movement and making an adjustment. My eyes were next drawn to a river that stretched from the gathering area in the middle of the city to the wall. It flowed toward the wall and seemed to end there, at least from my vantage point. The river was perfectly clear with a bluish-white hue. The light didn't shine on the water, but mysteriously shone within it somehow. The flowers in heaven fascinated me. Again, a delightful and delicate balance between diversity and unity. Each was unique, all were one, and they were beautiful to behold. Each petal and leaf illuminated with that glorious light and added just the right splashes of color to the velvety expanse of green grass. As I described previously, the grass, the sky, the walls, the houses, everything was more beautiful than I ever dreamed anything could be. Even the colors, they were richer, deeper, more luminescent than any colors I have ever seen in the farthest reaches of earth or in the most fantastic of dreams. They were so vibrant, they pulsated with life. And this is me talking now. I don't know if you've ever read the account of John in Revelation. I believe it's 22 where he talks about heaven, but a lot of it parallels this account from Dale Black, the pilot. And this ends on page 105. And you guys have a great day.